So good evening. I hope my slide is visible. My jam code is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So actually today we are going to discuss about electro-pneumatics or electro-hydraulics. So hydraulics or pneumatics usually it can be classified into three. So hydraulics or pneumatics you can classify into three. One is called as the manual hydraulics or pneumatics. Second one is electro-hydraulic or pneumatics. Third one is proportional hydraulics or pneumatics. Proportional hydraulics or pneumatics. Hope already you have studied about manual hydraulics. In that you may studied different kinds of valves or cylinders or rotary actuators, right? PCVs or pressure control valves or flow control valves. You know everything. I hope you it was completed. So next one is today we are going to discuss about electrohydraulics. This proportional hydraulics something advanced than this manual and electrohydraulics, where we can able to control the position of the valve in analog way, right? So here in manual or electrohydraulics, we are controlling the position of the valve in a digital way. Either it is closed or open. It is 0 or 1.
Sir,
On or
sir.
yes.
Sir, slide update பண்றீங்களா இல்ல ஜாம்போர்ட் மட்டும் தான் தெரியும். எம்டி ஜாம்போர்ட்.
Only cam only.
Okay, sir. Okay.
So I hope whatever written here you are able to see, right?
இல்ல சார் தெரியல.
இல்லையா?
அதனால தான் கேக்குறேன். ஒண்ணும் தெரியல.
Okay, one second.
Now it's okay, sir. தெரியுது.
So here pneumatics or hydraulics usually it can be classified into three: manual hydraulics or pneumatics, electrohydraulics or pneumatics, or proportional hydraulics or pneumatics. So already you studied about manual hydraulics or pneumatics. Now we are going to see about the electrohydraulics or pneumatics, and other one hydraulics and pneumatics are there, that is called as a proportional hydraulics. So in electrohydraulics or manual hydraulics, the cylinder or actuators we can move in a digital way, either on or off, right? Or 1 or 0. In proportional hydraulics, the position of the valve can be controlled in an analog way, right? Either 1 mm or 2 mm, 3 mm, 4 mm, like that we can move this proportional cylinders or proportional valves. So in today we are going to see about only electrohydraulics or pneumatics. So from this word itself, we are clear that it is some electricity it is coming into picture, right? As you know that mechanical and electromechanical system, all motors and generators, we call that as a electromechanical system, because the mechanical rotating device is operated by a electrical supply. That's why those devices were called as a electromechanical systems or electromechanical devices. Some electricity is used to operate the mechanical things, so we say electromechanical. In the same way, here, because we are using electricity to operate the valves, we call this as a electro-pneumatic or electro-hydraulics. So, as you know that world is moving from the conventional mechanical system into automated mechanical system. We are not able to see the older machines which were operated only by a human or some other engines. Now everything is completely automated. Even we are able to see most of the plant or substations all becomes unmanned, or human beings working with a machine or a process, it is getting reduced. Operators are reduced, and most of the things now come into the automated things. Right? So when automation comes, then the electricity is much needed. Right? So this all why we are studying about these electro-pneumatics. So when we talk about electro-pneumatics, the first thing come in our mind is solenoid. So solenoid, because earlier you might studied about different valves which were operated manually, right? Hand operated valves or pedal operated, right? Different kinds of valves you may study. Now from this time forth, we are going to see about electrically operated valves. So to operate the valve, we require a device called as a solenoid. So before going in detail about solenoid, so you should know fundamental of electricity. So that is why we may study in the first year the basics of electricity. So in any wire, the current will flow whenever some potential difference or voltage is given. So current to flow in any circuit, there should be at least minimum two things should be satisfied. One is it should be a closed path. In open path, there won't be any flow of current. So current to flow in any circuit, the first important criteria is it should be a closed path or closed circuit. In a closed circuit only current will flow. Then second important criteria is there should be a potential difference. No, we call as a potential difference. Other word for potential difference is voltage, or we may call this as a electromotive force, EMF. Right? Electromotive force. Now, sometimes being a mechanical engineer, we used to see these all words very strange, no? But now everything becomes interdisciplinary, and every factory, the people are working in multiple systems. You should know these all words, right? So, a current to flow in any circuit, at least two things need to be satisfied. One is there should be a closed path, and second thing is there should be a potential difference across the circuit. No, it is like if you take some article or some items placing on the floor, right? So to move these items, actually we need to give some force. When you give force against some friction here, the object is getting moving, right? The same way in electricity also, all the conductors will have some resistance. The resistance will be offered by all the conductors, that is called as the R. So against the resistance, if you want to send the current in a conductor, we need to give some force. That force is called as the voltage or electromotive force or potential difference, right? I hope it is clear. Mechanically, against the friction, if you want to move any object, we need to give some force. Same way, in electrical circuits, we have a resistance. Against resistance, if you want to move the current in a circuit, we need to give some voltage, right? That voltage is called as the potential difference or electromotive force, etc. Right? So this one is a fundamental of electricity. Any circuit, whenever a current flows, then only the circuit will operate. Whether you take tube light or a fan, so everywhere we are giving some current, right? Then only the circuit will start operate. Now we come into the solenoid. Also, in any circuit, when current flows, always there will be a magnetic field created around the circuit, right? So around this, some magnetic flux or magnetic field created. Now that's why in foreign countries and all, whenever we are purchase a lot of electrical items, after keeping all the electrical items inside the house, they used to measure this magnetic field density, right? So they used to measure this because in a single room, if the magnetic field density becomes more high, then that leads to a lot of disease related to cancer or some other things, right? So that's why earlier days the people lived along with the nature. The disease will be very less. Now, after the invention of a lot of electronic and electrical things, the disease also going very high, right? Because around our body will be able to withstand only a given amount of magnetic field. Beyond that, if some magnetic field the body absorbs, that leads to disease. No? So whenever current passing through any coil, always there will be a magnetic flux or magnetic field created around the coil. So this is the principle of solenoid. Solenoid actually consists of a coil. Coil is called as a solenoid. In that solenoid, we are just passing the current to make this as a magnet. Now, this also called as a electromagnet. Actually, magnet of two types. One is a permanent magnet. So permanent magnet material, magnetic property will be available. Residual magnetism available inside the magnetic material itself. But in electromagnet, it is just an ion piece. When ion piece is wound with a coil, and if we send the current to this coil, right, we are giving a voltage, so current will passing through this coil, and so that this piece of iron will be magnetized. This one is called as the electromagnet. So this principle is used in the solenoid, right? In solenoid, what you will do is, so we will be using this coil. Inside the coil, we will be using some plunger or a piston or a spool, right? Spool or piston or plunger will be used inside the coil. Whenever coil is energized, automatically this plunger either will attract this side or it will move this side depending on the direction of the current in the coil. So this principle is used in the valves. In a valve, actually in a manual valve, already you studied that you are moving the spool using a hand, right? You are moving either left direction or right direction using the hand. But in case of solenoid operated valve, we can use the solenoid to operate the valve in either right direction or left direction, right? Already you studied about valves. Right? We may have a 2x2 valve or 3x2 valve.
Sir, we have studied.
Sorry? Any doubt?
Continue பண்ணுங்க சார். No, sir.
So we have 2x2 valve in that left hand side and right hand side. Earlier you might in manual control you might use the levers or manual operated cantilever. to operate the position of this valve. Here we will be using solenoid at both the ends. Right? This is solenoid 1. Right? This one is a solenoid 2. So by energizing solenoid 1, we can move the position here. By energizing solenoid 2, we can move the position in the opposite positions. Okay, so that the flow of the fluid can be either forward or reverse based on how we are energizing this solenoid. Right? Any doubt here? Any doubt with solenoid? So solenoid is just a coil that will create some magnetic field whenever current passing through this, and this magnetic field will be used to move the spool inside the valve. Right? Either we can move the spool. Okay, we can move the spool using this. The way we are energizing this solenoid. So now, important thing here is, while working in a pneumatic circuit, the many important thing is we need to create some circuit, electrical circuit to operate the solenoid. Right? When we are going for automation in any machine or a process, we may use some multiple sensors. We need to collect the data from the sensors, and according to the data we collected from the sensor, we need to energize this solenoid. So for that, for creating the circuit, so from mechanical side, it is very simple. We have a valve. At both the end of the valve, we have a solenoid. That's all. Now, instead of manually operations, we are operating the electrical operation. So this is some 24 voltage DC solenoid. Right, 24 voltage. Again, this voltage rating depending on the size of the coil used inside the solenoid. Right? If the solenoid coil is rated for 24 volt, then we call this as a 24 voltage DC coil solenoid. If the coil is rated for 230 volt AC, then we call this solenoid as a 230 volt AC solenoid. So whenever in the market, if you see different rated solenoids, it should be understood that the solenoid coil is rated for this different voltage levels. Okay. So now, before going into the circuits, we should know what are the different elements used in the circuit. Right? If you go and observe some industry near the electro-pneumatic systems, we may have some panel. So if you open that panel, inside the panel, you might find many more devices inside the panel. So each and every device have some purpose, right? So you should know at least if some diagram is given, and you should be able to read the diagram and able to understand what is actually happening within the device, right? So, I hope in your syllabus it is given the starting itself, pneumatic circuits, then relay logic, then electrical control of pneumatic and hydraulic circuits, use of relays, ladder logic, ladder diagram using internal relay, timers, counters, PLC of hydraulics, pneumatic circuits, PLC wiring diagram for various circuits. So it is very clear, circuit in our syllabus. Most of the thing is about some circuit formation. So it should be not only it's just a solenoid connecting with the relay. You should be able to connect the solenoid in a circuit so that both pneumatic and electrical circuit will be complete. So before formulating or making a circuit, you should know a few things. One is first relay. Why relay is used? What is relay? Anyone know about relay, or can you respond your understanding of relay? What is
Sir,
relay?
is it an electrical switch to operate?
Okay. So simply many people they say it is a switch, electrical switch, right? Electrical switch in the sense it is like the switch what we are seeing in our house. That also we call as a switch, right? So what is the difference between the switch what we use in our house and this relay? Okay, good. So we'll see. Now relay what we are seeing now is called as a electromechanical relay, right? So nowadays lot of electronic relay also available which uses diode or IGBT or SCR or some of the electronic devices will be used as a switch, right? But we are seeing here only electromechanical relay. Actually this relay consists of a coil. So it is very simple if you understand the concept of relay. It consists of a coil and this coil will be wind over a iron piece, and in a relay we have a set of contacts. One contact is called as the normally open contact. Another contact is called as the normally closed contact. We call this as a NO contact, normally open. This contact is called as the NC contact, normally closed contact. So this coil is rated for some voltage. That's why the relays were called as a 24 voltage DC relay or 5 volt DC relay or 9 volt DC relay, because these coils were rated for some voltage. So what happens when 5 volt is given for this relay? So I have selected some 5 volt relay and I have given 5 volt to the relay. Now what happens inside the relay? I have some iron piece. When the supply is given to the iron piece, this will be magnetized. So inside the relay we will be having some mechanism. That mechanism will attract those contacts with this iron piece. While it is attracting those mechanism, what happens is this normally open contact now it closes. Normally closed contact now it becomes open. That's why our friend said that it is a switch, right? So here switch is, it is acting as actually switch, but here this act as a switch whenever we are giving some control supply. Some control supply is given here, automatically this open switch becomes closed, this closed switch becomes open. Now we'll see what is the application of this. Take a simple application that you are using some sensor. Assume that you have some air conditioning system. You want to switch on AC, you want to switch on automatically by sensing the temperature. Right? This is air conditioning system. You have a sensor, right? This sensor is just some 5 volt sensor, but this air conditioning system will be operated with 230 volt power. 230 volt AC supply is required for operating the air conditioning system. So now in a room I have a small temperature sensor which is operated by a 5 volt. When temperature in the room goes greater than some 30 degrees Celsius, automatically I want to switch on the AC unit. When the temperature of room is less than 30 degrees Celsius, automatically I want to switch off the AC unit. Now what I done is just this 5 volt from the sensor I have connected with the relay. Okay. Then here what I done is this end of this one I have connected to the 230 volt AC. 230 volt AC. Another end of this one I have connected to the air conditioning system. It is a 230 volt. Assume this is a phase I have connected here. So neutral I have connected here. Okay. Now this is like a temperature switch. This will give some 5 volt to the relay when the temperature goes greater than 30 degrees Celsius. Now in a room, assume that the temperature is greater than 30 degrees Celsius. So 5 volt is going to the relay that will operate the switch. Okay, this will become closed. What will happen when this one is closes? Automatically this 230 volt will go to the AC unit. AC unit automatically it will switch on. Now assume that temperature now suddenly goes less than 30 degrees Celsius. So the switch off, this temperature switch sensor off. So 5 volt is lost. So what will happen? This is automatically open. The switch is automatically open. So now 230 volt is not available to the AC unit. AC unit will switch off or compressor will switch off, right? So now you understand how this relay is functioning. Here the relay controls the power based on the control supply available at the coil. That's all. Okay. So relay controls the power circuit based on the control voltage available at the coil. Any doubt here? Any doubt on this relay? Okay. So because this relay logic is basics for all the other things we are going to discuss in the coming topics, right? So relay is just a coil, control coil. So that's why these are all called as a controlled relays. So we have a variety of relays, but relays used in the electro pneumatics or the hydraulics were called as the control relay. So some of the books they used to give the notation as CR, control relays. So whenever for this relay, we give the power supply, so the contacts will change so that it will operate the power circuit. So this one, next one is we seen about relay. Next our topic is relay logic. What is logic? Relay logic. So what is logic? Already you might heard about a word called as arithmetic logic circuit, ALU. The computer we have a arithmetic logic circuit. Arithmetic, you know, it is plus or minus or multiplication or square root, no, that all arithmetic. What is this logic unit? This logic unit is either we can implement logics like AND logic or logic or NOT logic or XOR logic or XNOR logic. NOT logic, XOR logic or XNOR logic. No, that is called as the XNOR logic, exclusive OR logic. XNOR, exclusive NOR logic. So what is AND logic? Already from the word it is clear that if you have two inputs, when two inputs were on, if you have two inputs, when the switch one, now we take like this, we have two switches and we have one output. So this is output 1. This output 1 will be on only when input 1 and input 2 is on. That is called as an AND logic. When both the inputs were on, the output goes on. So for this logic, we used to write like this: 0, 0. When both inputs were 0, so we have output 0. When 0, 1, output 0. 1, 0, output 0. When both the inputs on 1 1, then only the output goes on. So example, in a room, assume that we have two temperature sensors. Left hand side I have one temperature sensor, right hand side I have temperature sensor. When both the temperature switches on, then only I want to switch on the AC unit, right? So what I need to do is I will connect this one in series with this one. The switch of this one, temperature switch, will be connected in series with this switch. When both the switches were on, then only the output goes on. No, that is called as the AND logic. So in a plant, you may have a multiple sensors. For that, you may be required to write some logic. In relay logic, I will connect two sensors in series. And when both the sensors were on, I want to switch on some output relay. Then we can have a logic like this. Another logic called as a OR logic. OR logic, if I have two sensors, if any one of the sensors out of these two is on, I want to switch on. Any one or both on, right? I want to switch on, then I will go for OR logic, right? OR logic usually come parallel, two switches in parallel. Two switches in parallel, energize some output. So switch 1, switch 2. So here, when first switch on, the output on, or second switch on, the output on, both the switches on also, output goes on, right? That is called as the OR logic. Okay, that's why it is called 1 or 2, 1 and 2. That is an AND logic. 1 or 2, it is called as the OR logic, right? So this is AND logic. Next one is OR logic. Next one is NOT logic. In case of NOT logic, when the input NOT comes, the output will be on. When the input comes, then automatically the output goes off. That is called as the NOT. When no input is there, output on. When input comes, the output goes off. No, that is called as the NOT logic. Next, another one is called as a exclusive OR. In case of OR logic, we've seen that 0 0 0 0 1 1 1 0. If any input is there in OR logic, output will on. 1 1 1. So in exclusive OR, XOR, when both the inputs were equal, always output will be 0. In exclusive OR, we will be getting the output when only the two inputs were different. 0 0 0, 1 1 also 0. Only different input comes, then only I want to energize something, then I can use exclusive OR. When two sensors gives the different outputs, then only I want to energize something. Now, in that case, we'll be using exclusive OR. What is exclusive NOR? It is the opposite of exclusive OR. Exclusive NOR. It is the opposite of exclusive OR, in that if sensors having a equal output, then only the output will on. So 0 0 becomes 1. No sensing output comes 1. Both the sensors that are time also 1. When nothing, when any one only sensors, during that time, the output goes off. Right. Apart from this, we have some other gate also. We have a NOR gate or NOR logic. NOR logic is just a reverse of OR logic. So if it is 0 1 1 1, NOR logic, it will becomes 1 0 0 0. In case of NOR logic, when no inputs are available at the sensor, if both the sensors not giving any output during that time only, output will be available, right? No sensing is there, you will be getting the output in case of NAR. So in case of AND, we have another logic called as a NAND logic. NAND is inverse of AND logic. So here it will be like this: 1, 1, 1, 0. So these are the different logics. That logics can be implemented using a relay, right? That's why called as a relay logic. So earlier days, these relay logics were implemented in most of the industries, and for implementing any logic, the people used to select multiple relays, and they will take the conduct of this relays to form the relay logic. Just we will work out some example. Assume that we have a parking station. Parking. So in that we have some sensor. This is sensor 1. Sensor 1. And here we have sensor 2. So here I have some lamp. So I have some light L. So I want to switch on the light. I given some logic that when S1 and S2 on, I want to switch on the lights. Lights 1. So I have another light. We say that light 2. So this light 2 will on. When S1 or S2 on, we need to switch on the light 2. So how to implement the relay logic? Now we are discussing on relay logic. Because this one is very important in electro-pneumatics. We are going to make a logic for operating the cylinder in forward or reverse, right? So now I have connected this sensor 1 to a relay 1, right? Relay 1. And sensor 2 is connected to the relay 2. Relay 2. So for this I need to write some, draw some electrical circuit, right? So I am using some switch to switch on the light, switch 1, switch 1. One switch 1 is on. Then I am used here, each relay will have set of contact, right? This one is R1 relay contact. So this one is R2 relay contact. So when the switch 1 is on, so the contact of R1 relay closes and contact of R2 relay closes. During that time, I will energize the supply for, I will give lights on. Assume that this is just 230 volt. So I have given 230 volt supply here. Okay. So this one is phase of the 230 volt. This side is a neutral of the 230 volt. So this will be light 1. What will happen when switch 1 is closed? If the relay 1 is closed, automatically this will close. Okay. If relay 2 close, automatically this contact will close. And 1 and 2, then light 1 will on. What about next? Next is, I will use this as a parallel. So this one is contact of relay 1. This one is contact of relay 2. When both were on, light 2 is on. It is light 2. So this one is relay 1, relay 2. So this is how we need to make a circuit using a relay. First we use the two relays. The sensor were connected with the relays, and when switch is closed, relay, when both the relays were on, both were closed, light 1 will be on. When any one of the relays were on, then light 2 will be on. Right? Any doubt here on a relay logic?
Sir, so the above one is AND operator, so the below parallel series is OR operator.
Yes, yes, correct. Above one is AND logic, below one is called as the OR logic. No, this is how we are implementing all the logics using the relay. Earlier days, people used this relay logic to energize the things in a factory. A lot of automobile factory, frequently while they are changing the model, the difficulty they faced is they need to remove all the wires, all the relay wires they need to remove, and they rewire that, right? So in that case only the people, they thought, why not we devise, or why not we invent one device where this all wiring can be done in a software. That is called as the PLC, programmable logic controller. Whatever wiring we are doing using a relay logic or manual wire can be replaced in a programmable way, that is called as the programmable logic controller. This logic can be implemented using the program, that is called as the programmable logic controller, that we are going to discuss in the next class. Okay, so this one is the fundamental for the programmable logic controller. If you understand this, then it is easy to make any circuit in a PLC or programmable logic controller. The thing you need to understand here is relay will have a coil and it has a set of contacts. Normally open contact and normally closed contact. Normally open contact and normally, in some cases we will be using the closed contact also. Right now, being a beginner, I am not explaining what is the purpose of closed contact. So normally open contact and also normally closed contacts. So usually normally closed contacts will be using for the fail-safe mode, right? I'm not going in depth about fail-safe operation, just give you only the basic overview of this relay logic. Any doubt you can clarify here. Then next class we see this programmable logic controller. You can ask any doubt on this relay logic.
Sir, I think no more doubts.
Okay. I think Prakash sir will take
Okay, sir.
other things.
I will take it.
Yeah, we'll see next class. Next class we'll discuss on this programmable logic controller.